Okay, welcome to another poor quality, low effort video, which would normally be about how I think the world can be made better, but today it's more about how the world is likely to be made worse. So I'm going to do an AI doomer video, and so this one is about how AI is the end of us, but this is figuratively speaking, because I don't think it's I'm not talking about the case where machines become evil robots and kill us all. So anyway, let's just assume for now that better than human AI is coming. So I don't want to use the term AGI just because everybody discusses it, debates it, whatever it means. All that I'm concerned about here is that you're getting AI that is going to be better at humans at pretty much everything intellectual that a human might do. And that includes, I think, creativity. So I just noticed that OpenAI has come up with a new 4004, I can't remember which is which, 40 thing, and it does really good, like when I'm making this video, it just came out, it does really good translations between images and different art styles, and does lots of it's really good at doing arty things. So I'm a bit skeptical about the idea that AIs can't do most of the creativity that humans can do. But before we get into that, we'll just talk about what are the things that generally can go wrong. So I haven't gone through these slides in a while, so don't worry if I get them wrong. So there's misalignment and malicious AI, and there's job losses. So misalignment is you get a machine to do something, but it doesn't really do exactly what you think because it sees the goal as slightly different, like the whole paperclip taking over the universe with paperclips kind of example, I guess, is that kind of thing. But there's lots of many other kind of misalignment things. This malicious AI, someone could make an AI that just actually hates humans. This could be because it was built that way, or it just evolved that way, who knows. And of course I think the major one that people worry about is just general job losses, because these machines are doing all the things that we used to be able to do, and now we don't have any way of getting a job. I'm not going to worry about these ones. These are the things that other people can be terrified of in the future, and these may be problems that happen. Job losses is like a guaranteed, I think, and we already kind of are beginning to see this. But let's just assume for a second that we can actually handle all of this. So say we get the whole alignment problem sorted out, and we get, they don't get evil AIs that want to kill us all, and we come to a future where we don't really need to work, maybe. So what could be this positive future? So we'll have massive technological advancements, means we no longer need to exchange our labor for living. So this is like this post-scarcity utopia. Like this is the Star Trek of the future. And we might live for a very long time. We might have all these science things coming along, and it's just a great world in a sense. So we might have some form of universal basic income. I've mentioned before in the channel that I don't really think universal basic income is a good idea. I don't think it really makes any sense. I'm trying to, on this channel, put forward ideas that basically look a lot like universal basic income, but they're sort of more grounded in a way that makes sort of sense as an economy. Just giving people money does not make sense. It could, of course, make sense in a world so in my previous videos I've talked about these usage rights things. One of these could be you all get a certain amount of rights to the global robotics and AI workforce, and then you can use that or trade it for something else. Maybe you wish to trade your AI rights because for a little house in the country or something with a bit of land that you would not normally have, because there's lots of people and you have to divide things up fairly. We're going to get into this. So there are lots of things you could do. So let's just say we get all these. Are we going to have new forms of labor? Now this is the thing that I want to get to. I don't know that we will. We're going to have new forms of labor in the near future, I'm sure, but that doesn't really make me happy. So we're going to assume safe superintelligence is achieved, And so there's a scheme that's instigated, who knows what this is, where all people have access to the benefits of AI. Now there are some problems first, and the first problem is how we actually get to this point. And that first problem to me is that our world is not currently remotely egalitarian. And when I talk about egalitarian equal rights, I mean not making people equal in that, when you talk about equal and people go on about equality of opportunity and equality of outcome, and so I'm talking about treating people with equal dignity, and that people have some sort of equal ability to create a meaningful life or whatever. Whatever you want to call it, equality here, we don't have anything near that. Okay, there is vast inequality in this world, but often we will justify this by differences in merit, differences in nation. We don't want to say that out loud, but I think that's what a lot of people would think. That they think, well, our country is the best country on the world, in the planet. We deserve to have more because we're just better people. And so so basically the idea is some people have more because they work harder, are smarter. We all know this is bullshit. Not true. I was going to swear on this, but I'm not going to. It's not really true. A lot of people who do get more are not because they're working harder. They might be working a good amount, but they're certainly not working harder than other people who do not have that much. So that's a problem. So what if technology takes over from our intellectual tasks? Okay, now we're in a situation where how do we justify these differences in wealth? At the moment we can kind of go to meritocracy. We can say, well, we do it because some people are smarter than others. And we can believe this myth. But what happens if that doesn't really count for anything? How does one person say they deserve more than other people when what they're getting is coming from technology, not from anything that they are doing? And it's so clear that this is the case. So when we fall back on our claims of morality, we will say that some people deserve to have more. Is that what's going to happen? And they won't say it outright. They'll just sort of create schemes where this might happen, because you have this world where you have everything taken care of for you, but some people at the moment, they have their mansions, they have their land, they have their yachts, they have their private jets. Why should they have that in a world where you have all this equality-making machinery? So the result will be the wealthy will not allow this. And so I think if it goes on and you have this nice situation where AI is good and doesn't want to kill us all, the wealthy will want to kill us all. So they will fight to keep their wealth, and they want to ensure that their wealth seems justified. So whatever you think, if this is going to happen, then that path is going to be paved with blood. So I'm talking about what happens if you get the other problems that everybody else is going on about sorted. I don't think it's going to end up well. But this leads us to the second problem. And this is the one that I really want to get to, which is, say we get past all that. Say there's this abundance, that we're all wealthy, we live in an egalitarian world, all the ultra rich from the past, or all the things, they've gone, we all get what we want, right? What gives us meaning? So we have this world where we all have what we want. Machines are solving everything for us. What gives us some sense of meaning? And will there be new things for us to do? Now, of course, there will be, I guess, new things for us to do, but we'll see where we go. Yes, of course we can. We can devote our time to the care of the planet, the people. We can follow our personal pursuits. We can learn to make chairs, whatever, who knows. And we can just entertain ourselves. We can just travel the world. We can see lots of things. So I think of The Good Place, so the TV series The Good Place. They have a, spoilers alert about the TV show, in the final season they sort of develop an idea of what an ideal heaven is like, and where people get to devote to do whatever they want. They have personal pursuits and they can care and look after each other. But I find this very unsatisfying. And I find it unsatisfying because there's no longer any sense of meaning for humanity as a whole. We're not doing anything that gives us some sense that we really matter as a species, and that things are going to matter after we die. And so I think humans are always seeking for that some greater journey for humankind. Not everybody thinks this way, I don't think. I think a lot of people don't. They just want to have a family and they want to go into their job and it doesn't really matter. And they probably deep down want to do something, but they kind of just want to live a happy life, right? But I think they have a sense that they belong to a project, a wider project that is continually moving on, that humanity is doing something important. And this is, it's literally within all of our pop culture and everything. Humanity will strive and create something new in the future. We are moving towards a better future, and that we are part of that, even if our job is just mundane and that we don't do much. And if not, we think our children will do that. That we will pass it on, and we would have helped to create those children. So we do this by being creative, or we seek knowledge. And up until now, we have always felt that humans are the ones that can uniquely do that. So the question that we should always sort of have is, what is the grand story of humanity? And of course, this is very culturally specific. There is always going to be, quite often this comes down to religion. We believe that we're part of some ultimate plan of a deity, of God. Or we might just believe, there may be some religions that can cope with this. So we won't get into that. But there's some sort of sense of goal for our lives. But when we have a superintelligence and robotics, that changes everything. So we will not be steering the ship. So we're just going to be going along for the ride in the future. It's like there's nothing, we can, for the foreseeable future, there will be input that humanity can provide. But things are moving quickly. This may not be the case in our lives, and it may not be the case in our children's lives. I'm going to argue that things will change very quickly, more quickly than I think people really can get a good feel for. And so we will reach a point where there will be a sense that our talents can't really be added to anything. AI will just be better at all of those things. And it will take everything away. It will work things out faster than we will ever do. We will no longer be able to keep up, perhaps. So we will only have our hobbies and our travel things and our friends and families, which is fine. But what's the point of just that individual drive to improve ourselves? Like, somebody else can do this. And a machine can do that, or everybody else can do this. There's nothing really that we're, as a whole, contributing. And so I think this is what I'm going to call the ultimate sadness. This is the end of human significance. So I think a lot also about Star Trek, and the future of Star Trek is not ours. So we may actually end up traveling the universe. We build, AI will build us spaceships, and maybe we will actually do all the cool things that we see on TV or in movies. But we won't really be the ones driving us there. We won't really be the ones flying the ships. We won't really be needed there. It won't be human minds that are the ones that are solving any problems. It will be the machines. And we're just going to be the passengers. So I think this will lead to huge problems with humanity. We need this. That's what people need. They need to feel like what they are doing matters. So what will happen if we reach this sort of utopia? Well, I think there will be unrest. So our material needs might be met, but they are not going to be enough to help us to want to, we're not going to sit around going, well, I'm happy, I'm just going to sit on my porch all day doing blah, blah, blah. It's ripe to have movements come along to create unrest, right? Because people will come up and they will say, well, what are you doing with your life? You're not doing anything. Nothing matters. We must do something. We must find some way. And people will flock to this because they will want some sense of meaning, even if that meaning is just a pointless rebellion. So people will turn against the machines, and they will turn against society, or they will turn against each other, or they will do some other things. They will perhaps seek meaning in spirituality. So one of my predictions is there will be a significant growth in spirituality. So if you're a spiritual or religious person, you should be happy for AI, because it's going to make your religion much more popular, I suspect. But there will probably be new sort of forms of spirituality, and that's simply because they are going to be selling a sense of meaning. It's like, well, yes, you don't have much to do, machines are doing everything, but God still loves you, and that God wants you to do blah, 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 blah. So these sorts of forms of trying to find a way of feeling meaningful will I think will become prominent. Other people, of course, will just seek escape in drugs or whatever, or in almost certainly hyper-realistic video games with hyper-realistic characters, or they will just rebel in whatever way they can. So, as I think, there will be easy to start a spark when nobody has any real sense of meaning in their life. And of course, the machines will understand this and seek to control it. So there will be some sort of, I would suspect, if the machines have decided that they're not going to let this kind of happen. So this is a sort of terrifying undertone to this, that if humans are to persist, they are going to have to be controlled in some way. Maybe that's through some sort of severe social engineering or whatever. But this does not strike me as being a utopia. Like, no utopia does exist without a sense of meaning for the people within it. Which is why I don't really. So this goes down to the good place. At the end, the characters, they don't really I guess they do, because they're linked into the demons and all the other people, the higher level beings that there are there. They know that there's something greater. So maybe the good place has it slightly better. In heaven, I kind of feel like this is the same kind of problem. It's the same kind of problem I've always had with heaven, is that, well, you go there and there's always people who are better than you at everything, and nothing you really do ever matters. You just get to hang out with your family and see them again, and live forever, which is just a way of avoiding death, but it doesn't provide anything. It just feels like, well, at some point you're going to want to die. So good place had the answer to that. You can die. So, but it doesn't solve the problem here. It feels like we are reaching the end, and what comes after is horrifying, given that the way we currently see things. It's just this huge social shift. And a few last words that people are going to complain about. The first one, of course, is AI is crap. So I don't think that's true. I think AI is on the home stretch, but it's hard to see, right? So I think, to me, the switching point was creating machines that do profoundly non-human things. So we once upon a time, we thought AI was just around the corner because we built machines that could do calculus and chess, but in some ways we sort of learned that those were the kind of things that machines were good at. Whereas and then it turns out they weren't good at things like, picking up bowls of fruit, or drawing pictures, or making music, or writing text and things like this. And we've got to that point where we've taken over, where machines are good at doing these things. And I don't think any AI winter is coming. So the momentum is too great. There are too many people buying too many graphics cards, right, to power all this. The computational power is immense and is always increasing. And so many people want to get in on this. And there's so much money. We're at that point where we reached that tipping point where AI was a research thing to AI is the big thing, and that people are going to keep going at it until they get what they want. They saw the hint that this is possible, and they're going to keep going until they get there. So maybe LLMs are not going to be the solution. I could make a discussion about why we're not looking at the current technology perhaps the right way, but let's just say that's not true. The point is, the momentum is there. We are going to get to the next thing a lot quicker than it took us to get to the current thing. Because the money is there and the technology is there. And as we're seeing with things like R1, or is it called R1, like the DeepSeek thing, it doesn't take too much to get big jumps. And then everybody else takes it on and makes bigger jumps. So if you go around saying it's just a statistical model, then you don't really understand what neural networks do. LLMs can only do so much. Who cares? Because the point is they can do an awful lot, and they've shown that they can do an awful lot. So it feels like, well, we have to work out whatever the trick is. It's just there, and it might just be a tech bubble. Of course, many companies at the moment are not going to survive. They're not going to make money. Lots of people are throwing money at things that aren't going to get anywhere. It doesn't matter. It's like the .com bubble. Who cares about the fact that it was a bubble? Lots of people lost lots of money. The internet is here. All the things that came out of it, so much changed from that. And this is what will happen here. It's not a money-making venture. It is a changing humanity venture. So I don't think that's going to do that. So most people look at the current. They don't look at the trend. I'm kind of running out of time here. They move the goalpost too easily. So it doesn't matter if AIs can't count how many fingers or do this. We've already got past the fingers thing. We're getting past the R's thing, and it's like computers have been able to count R's better than humans have since like the 50s. It's just in this kind of way they're terrible at it, but in in any other context they're extraordinarily great at counting letters and words. And so we underestimate how far along we might be, and exponential process always looks slow into the last minute and it becomes really fast. So I don't feel confident enough to scoff and say we're still many years away. And I think a lot of people are realizing this. They scoff and then they sort of change their opinion. Nobody really knows. So again, I wanted to talk about DeepSeek. It's not a game changer. People really didn't understand it. I wrote this quite a few weeks ago. This is an example, maybe a couple of months ago, of how things are moving so quickly. Is that I was talking about DeepSeek, but DeepSeek is like in the past now. It's moved on, so I'm going to skip over that. So no AI winter. We've seen what's possible. We're not going to stop. So what do we need to do? We need to take it very seriously. It may be 10 years, it may be one, but it may be 20, but it may be one. I think things are going to happen very quickly, and we need to start having this conversation now, because I don't actually know if we can stop this, and I think, but we need to start talking about it, and we need to start like raising alarm bells, because people need to if you said we're going to create technology that in a few years' time is going to give you nothing meaningful to do in your life, people might start having talking about it a lot more. At the moment, we're just talking about is the AI going to kill us or not, which isn't very helpful, because it probably isn't going to kill us. That's my feeling. So the people that worry me, I'm going to quickly finish all this off. So there are three types of people that worry me, and the first is the mediocre. And the mediocre people are the ones who jump onto AI all the time, and they're championing AI because it kind of gives them the ability to feel like powerful and creative. Like these are the kind of people who like posting images that they created with AI generators, and they kind of have a sense that it's theirs. And they don't see any problem with this, because before that they weren't really the ones making a lot of art. There will be some people who are actually genuinely creative and they love this, but that's because they feel like it's adding some sort of creativity to what they did before, and they aren't kind of seeing what's going to happen soon. So to them, the Luddites are just fools, these people, because they're like, why would you be against this? Because they don't see the threat of losing a sense of meaning, because they didn't have their meaning in life wasn't really there. They didn't have the powerful and creative sense, and so when they get an AI that lets them feel like they have that, they're really on board about it. So I'm being very critical of these people, but they worry me. The managers are the people who also worry me, and because they're not creative people, they're not intellectual people so much, they're not creating the things or seeking out the knowledge, they're the ones organizing everything. And the problem with that is that they just see this as new ways of, they're only looking at getting that. So they want to organize society to get the maximum output, but because they're not the ones at the coalface creating it, they don't really understand the effect it's going to do on people, because they're all about managing and moving things around. And they might last a bit longer than everybody else, right? Because they just have to manage this. I mean, they probably won't last that much longer. But these kind of people feel like the ones that are actually running our governments, right? If you get a lot of managers, they come into government positions, so they are not really thinking about what the effect of AI is. They just see it as an opportunity. They want their countries to invest in things because they're thinking about how it's going to create value for their country, or for for whatever. And then the last kind of people that I worry about are the spiritualists. So these are not people who are going to create these new forms of spirituality, but they're the people who right now have some sense that there's something special about humanity, the soul, the consciousness, the special creativity. So I hear this all the time. There's always, that AI is fine, but that you need that special creativity that only humans can provide. So they're not just the religious people, they're just people who kind of refuse to see that humanity doesn't have something special. And so I will say the things that worry me a lot about language models and image generators is that they are showing us that a lot of our special creativity is analyzable and predictable and model, you can model these things. So deep within these models is some sort of model, I use the word model too many times, of how humans are creative. We are a lot more analyzable. The big thing you should get from AI is that we're a lot more analyzable than we thought we were. So this talk of being something special isn't going to really cut it for me. And the problem with the soul and the consciousness is it blinds you to the fact that what I'm just talking about, that maybe these machines will take away our sense of meaning. Because for them, they will always think, well, we have a soul and a consciousness and whatever, a soul in particular, that sets us apart from any machine. And so that will always be there. And so they, again, will not take into account what I think will be the major threat from AI if everything is successful and safe. And these people also, I think, unfortunately appear to be a lot of the time within governments. So I live in New Zealand. I think of my politicians in this country, and I would definitely say that they're probably in all three of these categories. They're kind of mediocre. They're definitely the managerial people, and quite often they are spiritualists in some sense. And so they are profoundly poor at making decisions that will help us to avoid a potentially terrifying future. Only problem is, I don't actually think there is a way to avoid this future. I think we're on this sort of, the momentum is so high, no one is going to put a moratorium on AI research, especially when we live in a world where it looks like we might be moving towards some global conflict, or we might be, that people are going to be looking to at least increase their military budgets, and increase things like that. The idea that any country will voluntarily scale back their AI research and with the threat of another country taking over is just not going to happen. The momentum is so great in this, and it feels like this is probably the answer to the firm, whatever the why do we not see aliens in the universe? It's because we end up in this phase and we end up killing ourselves. We're at the end game, perhaps. I don't know. It's very depressing, but honestly, it's very hard. So if you read this, you can try and convince me that actually, no, there will be a bright future for humanity. So as I say, the future terrifies me. I don't want to have my needs met. I want to do like I'm doing something that's unique. So I have been working on like a coding project for a number of years. It's pretty much ready to go. But in a few years' time, maybe in next year, it just won't matter anymore. So everything that I did doesn't matter. It's gone. And I wouldn't mind so much if I knew that there was some other way in the future that I could try and work out a way of feeling meaningful and making something for society. But it feels like we're taking away all of the things that at least any average person might have any significant chance of being able to do. But I am kind of an optimist. So I keep saying this, but it is very hard to say, well, I think we're all doomed, right? It can't be true. It can't be true that we're all doomed. There has to be a way that we do actually end up. Maybe the people of the future, they become more like Eastern philosophy, more Zen Buddhist, I don't know, and they meditate a lot, and they're quite happy doing that. So maybe that's what we will become. It won't be the humanity that I prefer at the moment, but that's just my Western biases here, and so I just need to take a chill pill and smell the roses. So who knows, but personally I'm very worried. So thanks for watching in this very uplifting video. Have a good afternoon, and share and subscribe and watch some of the other videos on this channel, because they're basically, let's just say we do actually want to have a good society. There are some ideas for doing that. Thanks for watching. Bye.